another one. Today what I wanted to do was I wanted to talk to my chosen ones about how adaptable we are to our environments. You know what I'm saying? We are extremely highly adaptable to our environment. And being out in this space today just kind of reminded me of how adaptable we are, and just kind of looking at the man-made dam they got aligned with nature, you know what I'm saying, and how nature just adapts with it and still flow beautifully through the man-made, handcrafted dam, you know what I'm saying. And it reminds me also of just how, like, a lot of our structures in the beginning were all designed to be weird and witchy in the beginning, which is why none of us had the Brady Bunch upbringing, you know what I'm saying? And that's just saying to say you have everything, not saying that their spiritual background was the best, you know what I'm saying? That was just a thrown out example. But when you think about your experiences that you've been through in life and your walk of life, from being young, an adolescent, to how you managed your energy in that space, right? And what helps me think of this as well is when I think of my daughter, when she has to switch houses. And right now is my week without her. But when we have to switch houses, she has to manage her energy the best way she can, understanding that she's gonna get a lot of mixed weird energy while she's over there in that space, you know. It's one of the households where it's fake nice, you know, and it's really weird and witchy on the inside. Everything seems copacetic on the outside. But just having me there to be able to validate her helps her in her process, you know. But I try not to also give too much information, because I know for me, when I was young, because we didn't have access to certain information, it allowed us to manage in our environments better, you know. But even though having access to information is helpful, you also have to look at the facts of what's actually going on. We was able to move our spirit realm and our thoughts easier and faster because we didn't ponder on all the other shit. We just automatically thought of, what do we have control over? Because we know as a child we don't have a lot of control over exterior things, you know, but interior, if we cannot do something and we made to feel a certain way, then we're able to shift that energy right there, you know, and it keeps you from pondering. But just even thinking about it, just like all the different environments and places and things that I've been in, like, I've always been me, so I know that the rest of y'all have always been you, but you've always adapted to the environment, you know. It wasn't like, oh, it made you more toxic. It just made you be able to blend and be able to move around if it was a toxic environment, and if it's a healthy environment, you know, it just kind of flowed peacefully. You know, those spaces are extremely easy and light for us because those are the spaces we live in. But we know most of the structures and the different worlds we go into in this damn world is going to be some kind of witchy shit going on in between there. Even if the front part of the building looks amazing and it says it's doing all these things to help and heal people, but on the inside of that shit you can see that they fucking still torturing people and doing all the other witchy shit to people, you know what I'm saying? But it was like, even when I went through my experience for those 3 years, it was like I never shifted who I was. I stayed who I was. Adapting to my environment to that kind of situation is, you know, to the extreme. It's like I told myself before I went through the process I was going to put on more weight, you know. So I already knew physical attributes I needed to do to blend in so I could still be me, but not have to worry about any of the other weird shit that comes with that space. It's no different than being in, like, I went to it was predominantly white school, but it had a lot of people that still was brown in there, you know. It just wasn't the dominant color. So I could go hang out with my white friends over here and, like, the quote-unquote cleaner, nicer areas, you know what I'm saying, and still be me. And then I can go over to the hoods and still vibe with my friends over this space and still be me, you know what I'm saying? But a lot of other people that aren't in our space don't know how to blend and maneuver around in all these different kind of spaces. For us, it just flows naturally because we almost, I want to say we almost match the energy, but our energy always supersedes any kind of toxic environment, you know what I'm saying? But we also know that we don't just go into places bullying with our energy as well either, you know what I'm saying? That's not how we operate. But as far as just understanding that you adapt, adapting is like what the universe is doing to all this shit that man is building right now, you know what I'm saying? It's like what I was saying before, the squirrels in my neighborhood and the birds, they eat the shit we eat, you know, because they live in that area. So what else are they going to have access to if they done already cut down the predominant trees that would produce their kind of food? Or, you know what I'm saying, they cut the grass and shit. We call it grass, but a lot of this shit is food for other bugs, birds, animals, rabbits, all kind of other animals feed off of this grass. And what we call weeds is really a food source for another animal. But if you cut that food source out, it keeps those other bugs or animals from coming into your yard. You know what I'm saying? So words are spells and spells are real. You know what I'm saying? But that all comes down to the squirrels adapting, the rabbits adapting. Everybody's adjusting and adapting when you follow the natural flow. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like the water just kind of moves you with it. It's like if it was nothing in the water, it was just flowing blankly, and then all of a sudden, say some hurricane hit and now a boat pops up. It's like just floating. That was perfect for you. Now you can just hop on this boat. You just flowing. You didn't have to do anything extra for it. You know, you just made sure you could stay afloat while this storm and shit was going on, and then something even bigger and lovelier came along. You know what I'm saying? But it all comes down to just understanding that we are adaptable. It doesn't mean that you're changing or putting on a new face. I know a lot of people on the witchy side got that double mask thing going on. So for them, it's a little different. That's not the same thing. Putting on a mask is not the same thing as adapting to an environment. You know what I'm saying? When you're a child, you want to do certain things, but you cannot. You have to adapt, you know? And some adapt and still learn how to be them and adapt, and then some throw on a mask and then they lose themselves in the process because they didn't know how to stay them. And then that allows another entity to come over and just do what it does. You know what I'm saying? But that all comes with just being aware and understanding your abilities and what you can do as well. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of us have access to a lot of this shit. It's just a lot of us don't do or take certain steps to be able to access these certain frequencies. And some of us are just born with access to these frequencies. We didn't have to work as hard to gain access to some of these frequencies, you know what I'm saying? So it was just able to flow a lot smoother for us then. But being able to adapt to your environments and knowing that's what's going on, it'll keep you from being confused and lost when you think, or you might assume that you're putting on a mask or being fake or doing some other shit. Now, you know, you can feel it if you're being fake. You know, it's not going to be no questions or ifs, ands, or buts about it. You know what I'm saying? You're going to know when you're being fake. And for me, like going to jobs and having to do that shit before I was at this space, it was always weird because you would always feel it inside of here. You know what I'm saying? You're from your stomach, your solar chakra, all the way up to my heart chakra. I would always feel it in that space. So for me, it was like I didn't want to have to go through that shit, even though dealing with the jobs and shit, sometimes you have to. You know what I'm saying? That's part of the process. But adapting and wearing a mask is not the same thing. You know what I'm saying? So you got to be able to correlate the two and be able to distinguish them. You know what I'm saying? But we are highly adaptable. That's how we've been surviving and doing what we do, and still shining that motherfucking light and still lighting this motherfucker up. You know what I'm saying? But I ain't want to run it up too long. It's tapping everything down below. Peace and love to the kings and queens.